Sometimes you just gotta make them bite.
Oh, there he is. Look at that. Great big one.
This spot's gotta have fish.
Ah, got him. Good one, boy. Good one.
There we go. There, got him. Nice fish.
That did not take too long.
Successful angling is a moving experience. Because to catch fish consistently throughout the changing seasons, you must determine their current locations before you can catch them. On familiar waters, anglers often have the luxury of fishing known spots with proven tactics. But on unfamiliar waters, the fish have the initial edge in knowing where, when, and how they relate to their surroundings. The faster we confirm their location and behavior, the sooner we can turn the hunt for fish
Oh, James, that's a good one.
into catching them.
Beautiful fish.
Incorporating every available advantage into the search process ups our odds for rapid success. Today, on The Edge, we explore new water for walleyes and bass using the latest innovations in electronic technology to quickly locate high-percentage fishing areas amidst unfamiliar surroundings. First, we hit the shallows for early season walleyes,
Oh, look at that. That's a good one, yeah.
using mapping technology to highlight rocky shoreline points that draw walleyes throughout their spawning cycle.
Get a look at strategies on how to find early season walleyes on new waters. Look at that goddamn beautiful fish.
Then, we employ big bait logic to zero in on large structures that support lush stands of summer weed growth and attract big groups of big mouth bass.
That is a hog belly.
In both cases, our electronics streamline the search process, letting us spend less time looking and more time fishing for fish on the move.
I think this is what you were talking about, Jeremy.
The Angling Edge staff is constantly on the move, exploring new fisheries. The key to success on unfamiliar water is a combination of understanding the predictable seasonal movement of the fish you're after and the logical use of modern electronics to speed the process.
Oh, better fish. Better fish. Look at that guy there. That's a big one, Al. Come here, buddy. Look at that. Oh, come here. Oh, look at that. There we go. Look at that. Whoa, come here, buddy. Let me get this out of here. Boy, that's a pretty fish.
You can tell she's a spoiled out female.
You know, Al and I right now are fishing a lake we've never been on. It's early in the season, and we're gonna look at strategies on how to find early season walleyes on new waters. Look at that guy there, beautiful fish. We'll get her back in the water. You know, it wasn't that long ago, you know, before GPS technology and these mapping programs that you'd have to figure this stuff out all by more or less trial and error, and you still do. The thing is, when you look at our hummingbird here, and it's Lake Master's map system, and these are incredibly accurate, and you can literally physically see around this reef. When you look at it, look how detailed these structures are, and you can actually see where the fish would be probably most apt to set up. There's one. Look at that. There's one.
Another walleye.
Right. And look where he was set up at. You can see the tip of the point here. Yeah. Exactly where he was sitting at. Slow rolling, a shad wrap. which he's not a big one, but I tell you one thing, this guy here, it's his lucky day. Boy, he's getting a little bit chunkier. For today's early season walleye hunt, we initially started our efforts on the upper end of this reservoir, which has both a river and a large slough area. In any lake or reservoir, this would retain the best shallow spawning habitat and in turn concentrate walleyes early. In our Hummingbird, we're using a Lake Master mapping chip that is incredibly accurate in the northern regions of the U.S. Mapping technology like this is an exceptional tool to quickly search new water, and beyond that, develop locational patterns. Today, shore structures are holding the biggest fish. In the next couple of weeks, that will change as these walleyes move towards main lake structures for the summer. Within this mapping program, there's some unique features like depth highlight range, water level offset, shallow water highlight. Each one of these features can be adjusted to fine-tune the map's overall look based on the conditions you're faced with. One thing you have to realize that fish are constantly moving. Map and depth finder combination units can really streamline an angler's ability to find similar spots once you've established a depth and locational pattern.
Walleye.
Walleye, yeah, look at that, boy, look at how he bites it. He likes it.
Boy, they want that baby.
Oh, got him. Look at that. Yeah, I got him.
You got him?
Yeah, how do you like that, Al? I get him on figure eights a lot. That was really quite interesting. You know what? At this time of the year, you know, we got a couple of really key techniques. One is cranking, and the other one is jigging, and it's sort of intriguing on how these fish seem like they like that speed for some reason. I suspect Al's going to be changing to the crankbait in a short order here. We'll see.
That's 6 walleyes for him and 2 white bass to my 1 white bass and 1 walleye on a jig. But that's normally when we're fishing this time of year. Remember, this is a post-spawn bite. Dark water, there's a lot of shallow water fish. The guy in the front usually fishes with a crankbait. A jerkbait is another option. And I'm coming behind with a jig. You usually see what the bite is like. And it's the crankbait, it ain't the jig. I'm giving him 1 more fish, then I'm changing.
Retrieve speed can be critical in any fishing situation. Today, a steady, bottom-bouncing retrieve with a shad wrap definitely is the ticket. Sometimes a slow pump and pause is necessary to induce a finicky walleye into striking. Lure color is also another consideration. Today, purple descent has been the hot color, but natural finishes and bright attracting colors can have their time and place depending on water clarity and naturally the fish's mood. Pop jigging is another early season tactic that works on lakes around the country. We use both a VMC hot skirt jig and a moon eye jig tipped with a Trigger X minnow. Generally, an erratic snapping retrieve seems to work the best. One thing that you'll notice is that the bait isn't sitting on a bottom really long. Hey, this is not a finesse tactic.
Seems like we've been sort of doing a lot of experimenting. We started off when we put the boat in and ran that whole side shoreline, and we got a couple of fish, one on every other point it seems, and then we hit a little school of white bass, and now we went out and moved off on some offshore reefs. They're shallow on top, but I don't know if the big ones are out on top of this thing yet. Al got a good one.
Big eye, Jim. I'm gonna need a net on this one. Yeah, good fish.
Do I have to mark the GPS
Oh,
coordinate
I
here?
would if I was you.
I
It's
did
a 6,
already.
7 pounder.
I did already. Yeah, there you go.
Ooh,
Okay.
right on these deep ends, huh?
Ooh.
Nice fish, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Come on, baby.
Extendo, we're ready.
Hang on.
Come on, that's a nice one.
Yeah, she's a nice gal.
Oh, there you go.
Like I said, we're not exactly fishing the ideal walleye conditions. Look at how she ate that Trigger X. Look at that. Down her throat.
Right now I'm throwing this crankbait with a Quantum Tour Edition 7-foot rod, and this rod is about perfect for this. What it has is a moderate to softer action. And what I have it teamed up with, as far as line goes, is Suffolk's Performance Braid 10-pound test with a 10-pound test fluorocarbon leader. And this is about perfect for this. I can cast a long distance. You have tremendous feel. And then secondly, you have a little bit of give when you hook the fish to land them without tearing hooks out of the fish.
Oh, got it. Good one. Oh, that's a good fish. Nice walleye, nice walleye. Move right up on top of them, right up on top of those rocks, boy.
It didn't take long. You went to change the
I knew what they needed,
the
James.
rundown. You need the
I
net
knew
on
what
this
they
guy, or
needed.
are you gonna be just go with
Yeah.
hand land?
You know, I don't like hand landing them with Rapalus.
Bad hooks.
Thing to do.
Yeah, very dangerous.
Yeah,
Come here,
why don't
buddy.
you get that fish
Yeah,
in and just
it
hand
isn't
it
a
to me,
bad
just
one
like
now.
that. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
There you
Hang on. There you go, huh? Not a bad one. I don't know if you've seen how shallow that fish was up there. When I set the hook, she rolled right over on top of those rocks. Huh? Rolls right on over. When you're catching walleyes in shallow water like this, that's about as good as it gets. Casting one of the all-time greatest baits ever made for walleyes, a number 5 shad rap, it's about as good as it gets. That's just fun. And the thing about this bait, you know, when we're searching like this and we got these fish up in shallow water like this, we can cover really cover a lot of water fast. The shad rap has been the bait of choice.
There's one. Better one.
Ooh. Well, today we did not catch a lot of the big walleyes that are rumored to be in this lake. It might be just the flat, calm conditions that we're faced with. We'll have to come back for more exploration, not only for walleye, but white bass and big channel cats. Fishing new water is unquestionably one of the more interesting aspects of angling because it forces you to experiment.
Oh, look at that. That's a good one, yeah.
In turn, you learn a lot in a short period of time.
How do you like that, Al? I get them on figure eights a lot.
To catch walleyes consistently, Walleye Seasonal Moves explains how to locate and catch them throughout the changing seasons. It's one of our many installments in our Angling Edge instructional DVD collection, available at anglingedge.com.
The Angling Edge staff is blessed to live in Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes. One of our favorite fishing missions is hunting untapped bass lakes. We've been on 2,228, which means we only have 7,772 lakes left to fish. Seasonal timing is often the key to great fishing opportunities. Let's join Jeremy Smith and Ryan DeChaine with a look at some prime-time fishing for big bass.
That's a big bass, Jeremy. Hey, Jeremy Smith and I are out fishing big baits for big bass during the summer peak. Today we're going to take a look at some of the location and presentation methods used to find and catch bass like this during the summer peak months.
Like Ryan said, we're fishing the summer peak. It's as warm as the water is going to get throughout the course of the entire season. The fish are active, and it's a prime time to get not only lots of bites, but some big bites. Today we're fishing a lake that has not only numbers of bass from, half a pound up to maybe three pounds or so, but there are also some very large fish in there. So there's one right there. So we're targeting the bigger bass, so this one doesn't happen to be the case.
Ooh, this is another, not a real big one.
With
Better
ooh,
fish here,
bigger
Jeremy,
baits,
another
yeah.
bruiser.
I think you got me by a little bit there.
We've been catching a lot of small fish in this area, so we upgraded the size of our lures to a 10-inch hammerworm and a big Moe lizard. We've been able to key in on some of these boys. Wow, that's a beauty. Look at that guy.
Yeah, yours could eat mine.
I think this is what you were talking about, Jeremy.
Yeah.
We wanted to kind of trigger these guys out of the school using big baits. And we're doing just that, using these big Trigger X soft plastics today. Huh? Look at the size of that bass. This particular, I know, it's huge. This fish came off a rock spine, but there's a number of different locations where you can find fish like this during the summer peak months. Let's get her back. Oh, look at that bruiser. At this time, bass and other species are establishing their summer haunts. In northern natural lakes, bass tend to concentrate on large sunken humps and points. Today, modern GPS units with good mapping chips make it incredibly easy to find high percentage spots, streamlining the on-the-water investigation.
On large structures, bass will often gather on very specific areas, like the thickest weeds on sharp edges or inside corners and points. Other prime locations are any isolated rock humps or hard bottom extensions. Southern reservoirs see the same summer peak bite. Bass will often gather on main river channels or large creek arm ledges. Shale beds and rocks make these ledges even more attractive to bass. Water clarity and forage influences the depth bass will hold on these locations. Hummingbird side imagery is a great tool to quickly find these critical bottom compositions that schools of bass use.
That was a nice bite.
Nice.
I like that. You get hung up in the cover, you're popping it out, and it's like, oh, hey, it's moving. Nice fish, too.
Yeah, it's a pretty one.
Nice. Ooh. Nice big bass. All right. They're on. They're turning on. You know, it's just amazing. You can go that whole month of June, you get a couple fish in the pads, a few fish start showing up on the weed edges. You get this summer peak, and these boys just start showing up on all the offshore spots, and they get a good attitude. They start biting, they get schooly, and they start getting fat too. Nice bass. Throughout the warm summer months, a large variety of baits will catch bass. Jigs, crankbaits, rattle baits, and topwaters will all work. But today we're targeting the biggest fish. In these conditions, big fish like something slow and easy. Our bait choice is a Texas-rigged Trigger X 10-inch hammerworm and a 6-inch Big Mo. They're rigged on 3/8 to 5/8 ounce sliding bullet sinkers depending on depth and cover, and we're using a 5/0 VMC wide gap worm hook. Here's one. Oh, that feels good. Come on, baby. I think we found a little water, but that's the thing. You got to pay attention. And Ryan, get your bait out there. When this happens this time of year, you get bit on a spot like this, have the next guy get his bait out there, pay attention to where you threw, because they're always in schools. It's not always onesies, twosies.
There he is.
Get your bait in there, boom.
Got him.
Just like that.
Just like that, huh, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Bait, just as soon as it hit the water and they started to fall, I got whacked. It's not a big fish.
All right.
There's definitely a lot of them up there.
Yeah, there's quite a few of them up there. This is a nice one here.
Yeah, it's a nice fish, Jeremy. Ooh. They got a lot of life. Not a big one, Jeremy, but a nice one. And they do pull hard. I mean, we're dealing with water temps that are about 80 degrees, and these fish are as tough as they are at any time throughout the year. So you got to have the right equipment to match. We're fishing 7 foot to 7'6", medium heavy to heavy action rods with a high speed reel. This happens to be a Quantum Smoke. It's a new reel they have, 6'3" to 1. They make them up to 7'3" to 1. The big thing is you need to be able to pick up line in a hurry and have a good stout rod with a fast tip to penetrate hooks. This is a big 5/0 worm hook. Match your tackle to the style of fishing you're doing.
And then for me, anytime I'm fishing in deep water or some not really thick cover, I'm a huge fan of fluorocarbon. I'm fishing with Suffolk's fluorocarbon right now, 100% castable fluorocarbon, and the stuff just performs incredibly well. It's got a good sink rate to it. It's a lot more sensitive and it's not as stretchy as mono. And to me, there's no other line to fish when you're fishing Texas rigs or you're fishing jigs in deep water. It just has such great performance characteristics for this style of fishing.
You know, the big bass, big baits rule of thumb is grounded in excellent evidence. If you look at tournament results throughout the country, the top presentations used on big bass waters are typically large baits in the order of 10-inch worms like what we're using today, or big creature baits like Jeremy's big 6-inch Mo. Great example of that, I was out in the boat with the Rapala Trigger X Pro Staffer, Terry Bolton, and he caught 7 bass back-to-back on back-to-back casts for a total of 37 pounds on Lake Falcon. That's unbelievable. Ooh, nice bass, man.
Oh, wow. Big fish.
Holy moly. This is what it's about. Unbelievable, that's a big fish. Look at the size of that thing, Jeremy.
That's huge.
Huh? Look at that. That's about as big as they get in the northern U.S. It gets your heart going like a big muskie would. Look at how he ate that bait too. It's way down his throat. Come here, girl. Nice. Here she comes, Jeremy.
Giant, man. Giant fish.
That is a hog belly. And this is the kind of bass you can expect to catch during the summer peak months, whether it's from the south to the north. When water temperatures increase, these fish push to offshore structures and they congregate in big numbers, and they respond really well to big baits. Look at that hog.
What a great article. It's titled, Breaking the Worry Habit. It starts out by saying, do you worry? The response is nearly unanimous. Yes, we all worry. It goes on to say, worry will never change an outcome, solve a problem, or invite a miracle. Creativity will, persistence will, action will, prayer will, but worry cannot. What we focus on, we feed, and what we feed grows. When we feed our problems with worry, they become like giants. We're traveling in the direction of our most dominant thought. We're headed for what we're thinking about. That's why we get what we're afraid of and not what we want. Time and again, I find that worry and fear cannot live in the same space with hope and action. One will always drive out the other. When you stand on faith and take positive action, you evict worry and fear. Matthew 6:27 in God's Word says, who of you by worrying can add a single hour to his life? Something to think about, huh? Hey, from all of us here at The Edge, you have a good, safe fishing season. And don't worry about anything. We'll see you on the water. I sure want to take an opportunity to thank all our sponsor partners for making this show possible. And if you like what you see, let them know and support them. For more information, visit us at our website, anglingedge.com, and thanks for watching.